Okay, we are going to start it again. Yes. Can you hear me? Yes, please. Can you hear me? Yes, should we start? Psychoanalysis and psychoanalytical criticism. Now, as we know, psychoanalysis, a set of psychological theories that have their origin in the work and the theories of Sigmund Freud, an Austrian neurologist. He was the founder of psychoanalysis. Basically, psychoanalysis, as we know, that is a theory um, given by Sigmund Freud, who a system of psychological theory, entropy, which aims to treat mental disorders by investigating the interaction of conscious and unconscious elements in the mind. Bringing repressed fears and conflicts in the conscious mind by techniques such as dream interpretation and free association. As we know that this is a term, this is a theory.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes, yes.
सर कोई भी लिटरेरी वर्क लिखने के लिए ऑथर को जरूरी है कि कोई थ्योरी फॉलो करे या कोई थ्योरी के हिसाब से ही लिखे?
यस बेटा जी, एक मिनट. Basically, in literature, we apply theory in literature because when we write thesis, MPhil or PhD thesis, so our research basically is non-empirical. There is a qualitative research, as you know that there is a qualitative research, and there are two types of qualitative research. One is empirical. You see that quantitative research. Another one is non-empirical research. So non-empirical research is basically the textual analysis. In textual analysis, what we do, we take one theory and just apply that theory to the text. So in literature, you can say that we need theory to apply any work of an art. Now suppose there is a text of any writer. Now there is a novel of Mohsen Hamid. Now Mohsen Hamid, this novel is there. So we are going to write a thesis on Mohsen Hamid's novel. But yes, we will do textual analysis, but we have to take a theory because Mohsen Hamid is a post-colonial writer. So we suppose take theory of post-colonialism, that is a theory of Homi Bhabha or theory of Edward Said. So we take that theory, keeping in view the components of that theory, we apply those components in Mohsen Hamid's work, any novel. So it means that we will just have textual analysis of that when we evaluate and analyze and interpret that work of an art. So keeping in view that theory and components of the theory, so it will be easy for you to understand it, to evaluate it, to interpret it, to explain it, and then you see that we will write thesis on that. Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
So in literature, there is a non-empirical research, and then there is a textual analysis. So we need theory to interpret work of an art, to evaluate work of an art, to write explanation, to write interpretation, to write thesis on that text. So theory will be helpful to, you see that in this regard. So we need theory. So, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So psychoanalysis is basically term, and psychoanalysis, psychoanalytical criticism. I just uh, I have also written feminism and feminist criticism. So psychoanalytical criticism is a type of criticism that uses the theories of psychology to understand literature. So I have already told you, or suppose in psychoanalysis. Now, basically, Freud has written a book, Interpretation of Dreams. Freud was a neurologist, and he tries to cure his patients with the help of psychoanalysis. Now, you can see that the patient told his experiences, the past experiences, keeping in view the past experiences, keeping in view the dreams, keeping in view the sufferings and pains of Freud. Basically tried to cure, tried to interpret the problems, the problem. And Freud is of the opinion that basically a subconscious mind is very much involved. So we have got problems in subconscious mind. We bring those problems in conscious mind, in our consciousness. So the two things are very important to bring the problems from subconsciousness to consciousness, unconsciousness to consciousness. Suppose we have to interpret our dreams. Basically, dreams suppressed expectations, demands, and you see that we have got desires. So in dreams, desires are there. We must come to know that we suffer presently uh, in our consciousness because of our repressed desires that are very much available in unconscious mind. So there is a unconsciousness, there is a consciousness, and then there is a ego, there is a super ego. Now these are the components of his psychoanalysis, psychoanalytical criticism. So suppose we apply this psychoanalysis on D.H. Lawrence, any story or D.H. Lawrence novel, Sons and Lover, we see. Now, suppose Freud discusses about Oedipus complex. So we can see the Oedipus complex is the term used by Freud. Whether this Oedipus complex is present in the theme of Sons and Lover, D.H. Lawrence, Sons and Lover. So you can see that there are many components of this theory. So this theory is related with psychology. So it means we apply this theory in order to just interpret work of an art. Just I have given you example also. Araba is a short story where protagonist, a boy, he falls in love with the girl. So he is head over heels in the love of that girl, but he has got the problem. The problem is that he cannot express himself. So he is trying to open his mind before that girl, but he doesn't find any time. So he's not confident enough. So he suffers a lot. So we can apply, you see, that the components of this theory to that story also, by James Joyce. So we take any theory, the components of theory we apply to that work of an art, and we just basically come to know, interpret, and elucidate that piece of literature. So this is psychoanalysis and psychoanalytical criticism. So this is one example. Yes. So I just go, and this is a feminism. This again is a theory, and feminist criticism. Feminism is a movement that advocates the rights, political, social, and economic rights of women. Any literary writing, poem, short story, novel that highlights the predicament, again, you see that sufferings, painful condition, and sufferings of women is included in feminism. Suppose, as we know that Emily Bronte, there's a Withering Heights of Emily Bronte. So we take any feminist theory. So there are many feminist theories. We take any feminist theory to apply. We see the components of that theory, and we apply to Withering Heights, whether we see this writing, this novel basically has got the elements of women's, you see that rights, and you can say that psychological sufferings of women, basically this the writings contain on us. So feminist criticism to judge and evaluate the piece of writing from the rights of women perspective. For example, the writings of George Bernard Shaw and Henrik Ibsen of 19th century mirror or reflect economic inequality, discrimination, and inequality with women. So this is an example. As we know that 19th century in England is a century of women, because uh, her rights were highlighted, and she had got the right to vote, and then she had got the permission to get admission in university. But in 19th century, these writers, basically George Bernard Shaw, Henrik Ibsen, and Jane Austen, Emily Bronte, because they are writers of Victorian era, 19th century, and they contributed a lot uh, for highlighting the political, social, and economic rights of women. So these writings are very much. Now, these are the theories. So have you understood? Yes. Have you understood feminism and feminist criticism? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Have you understood psychoanalysis and psychoanalytical criticism?
Yes.
Yes. Basically, again, I would like to repeat that there is a book, Interpretation of Dreams. Basically, Freud, uh, he is of the opinion that there are repressed desires in our unconscious mind, and unconscious should be, you see that realized, unconscious desires should be realized in consciousness. When we come to know about repressed desires in unconscious mind, because you see that in past we might have any desire, and we didn't complete that desire, we didn't realize that, and you see that we might be facing any sort of problem regarding that. We have to just highlight it, we have to just realize it in consciousness, and then you see that in this way we will be cured. from that problem, from that suffering. So there are two ways to bring that unconscious repressed desires into consciousness. That is interpretation of dreams. This is the first thing. And the second thing is that the free association. When you have got independence, when you have got liberty, when you meet with many people, when you discuss, when you have got the platform for exposure, discussion, talk, so your problems, your repressed desires will be over because you discuss and you have exposure. So this is a way. And there are many elements and components of this theory. So we come to know about this theory, and we uh, evaluate work of an art regarding this. So this is just you must have it from the beginning. So if you have any question regarding any slide, so you may ask me. This is the first slide. This is the second one. This is the third one. This is the fourth one. So suppose regarding this aestheticism, we are going in our next class, we are going to start Oscar Wilde, and then there is a essay of Oscar Wilde, critic as an artist. Critic as an artist. So I will deliver lecture on this critic as an artist. So this is a type of you see that aestheticism writings. So Oscar Wilde is aesthetic by nature and his writings. So we are going to start. So the in the next after aestheticism, we are going to start David Hume. And in David Hume, you see that there is a impressionism. So in David Hume, and we will just learn his essay. We will read his essay. So what he is trying to say that therefore I have brought this one, aestheticism, impressionism, because we start from aestheticism and then empiricism, and then you see that psychoanalysis, because there's a psychoanalysis theory of Sigmund Freud, and there is a feminism just theory also, and we have to read one of the feminist. So I think there is an essay, vindication of women's rights. So Mary Wollstonecraft is a writer, a theorist, and we learn her essay. So we will read her essay. So please, keeping in view these slides, so if you have got any question, you are most welcome. If you want to discuss anything, because these concepts should be clear, and then there are other concepts also as well, because you must know about structuralism, post-structuralism, modernism, postmodernism, and then there are many other theories as well. Post-colonialism, reader response theory, uh, so impressionism. There are many theories, and you must know about their theories. First of all, you must understand the terms and then theories as well, because when you will be admitted in MPhil class or PhD class, you see that you will be asked about these terms and you will be asked about the theories. So when you will write thesis, so these theories will be helpful for you to in writing the thesis of MPhil and PhD. Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now the house is open for discussion because this is introductory class, and we are going to start uh, uh, any theory. Yes, just usually we are going to start one topic, because if there are 8 topics, there will be 8 classes, and then there if are 9 topics, there will be 9 classes. So the house is open, because you need to understand these terms, and there must be, you must know the difference between literary theory and literary criticism, and you must know these terms, and you must know these theories. Yes, if you have got any question regarding any slide, uh, just and if you want to discuss with me, or if you have your point of view, you are most welcome. Yes, anyone, please. Yes, I can see Suryakant and Sajda, Safia, Mishal, and Ambreen Lal, and Android. So I don't know. You see that why Android is written over here. This must be name. Yes. Who is Android? Yes, Suryakant. Yes. Suryakant, have you understood? Suryakant, there is Android and there is Galaxy C7. I don't know why Android is written over here and Galaxy C7 is written over here. Just I have mentioned it that you need to write your name, because there will be attendance. Yes, Suryakant, do you hear me? Yes. Yes, please, any question if you want to ask me from this lecture, you are most welcome. And if you want to discuss anything, if you want to have your comments, you are most welcome. Yes. Yes, anyone, please. Do you hear me?
सर फेमिनिज्म पे ब्रॉन्टी सिस्टर्स और
Yes, beta. Yes.
उन्होंने भी लिखा है ना
जी बेटा.
सर मेरी आवाज आ रही
जी बेटा.
सर ब्रॉन्टी सिस्टर और चार्ल्स डिकन ने भी तो फेमिनिज्म के ऊपर अपनी राइटिंग्स में कंट्रीब्यूट किया है
जी. चार्ल्स डिकन्स और दूसरा
ब्रॉन्टी सिस्टर्स
हाँ, मैंने आपको बताया बेसिकली चार्ल्स डिकन्स जो है, there is as we know that there is element of Marxism in Charles Dickens' writing. When we go through his novels, Great Expectations, David Copperfield, as we know that there is exploitation of children in his novels. There is exploitation of children. So in Marxism, you see that Marxism basically criticizes capitalism. As we know that David Copperfield, Great Expectations, Tale of Two Cities, and other novels of Charles Dickens, there is exploitation of poor people. There is exploitation of poor people. So there is a dominant element of Marxism in Charles Dickens' novel. Yes, in Emily Bronte, in Wuthering Heights, there is an element of feminism, because the sufferings of women have been narrated, have been mirrored, have been reflected. So yes, there is element, surely there is element of feminism, and basically it is one of the one of the forms of feminism also. You can, one of the types of feminism also, because basically French feminists, they think that through the writings of women, women can highlight their problems. So in Virginia Woolf, now she has written Room of One's Own. Now she is also of the opinion that women should write stories, poems, as you know the example of Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou has written women work. This is a poem, and then her works basically reflect women's problems. So there are many women writers, basically they think that it is the only way to highlight the women problems through the work of an art. And there are other feminists also, they think that basically men does not completely, fully and comprehensively highlight the problems of women, and it is only women who can highlight the problems of women in a better way. So Emily Bronte sisters basically, their writings are also important regarding this. You see that theory is a feminism. This is a good question. Yes.
Sir, mostly work about feminism was written in
Your
the
Galaxy
Victorian or in the
C7
20th
name is
century.
not written over here.
Sir,
Who
I'm
are
Javeria
you?
Bashir. Javeria Bashir.
Beta, you haven't written your name. Why?
Sir, I'm logging in from another
Okay,
phone
okay.
because
Ask me
my
question.
phone is.
Yes, yes.
Sir, I'm asking that the works of on feminism was mostly written in Victorian age or in the 20th century.
Work of feminism.
Work on feminist point of view, the works about related to women's were produced mostly in the Victorian age or in 20th century.
No, no. Basically, you say that before Victorian era, before 19th century, as we know that we are going to study Mary Woolf crafts. Just she has written uh, her essay after uh, French Revolution. So this is not only in 19th century, but 19th century is the century that gave lot of importance to women, because in British, as we know that we learn uh, literature, uh, basically you see that American literature and British literature. So in 19th century, lot of emphasis, lot of importance was given to women, and women basically had got right to vote in 19th century. Women was admitted in university in 19th century in British. So you can say that 19th century basically the century of women. And it is because of many writers, just like I have mentioned Bernard Shaw, Ibsen and other writers, and they supported basically they advocated the cause of women. And in Bernard Shaw's plays, many you see that heroines, as you see that in play hero, the concept of hero and heroine is there. So heroine basically Bernard Shaw are more intelligent than heroes. So Bernard Shaw is of the opinion that women has got more intelligence. They are more you see that intelligent than men. So and because through their writings basically they wanted to highlight the problems of women. So this is you can say that 19th century in British is called the century of women. Yes. Yes, any other question, please? Any
Sir,
other
what
person?
I
Yes.
want to know is that mostly work on feminism was done in which
Speak
century?
loudly, Javeria. Speak loudly.
Sir, I want to know that mostly work on feminism was done in which century? Most of the work.
In 18th century.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, please speak again.
Sir, I am asking that, are you hearing?
Yes, yes. I can hear you.
That mostly work on feminism was
Mhm.
done in which century?
Yes, basically, books have been written in you see that throughout the centuries, as we know that, but the women, the rights of women were recognized in 19th century in British. So as we know that Ibsen basically he European writer. So basically 19th century, up to 19th century, there has been a struggle of women. So many books were written to highlight the, you see that problems of women. In 18th century also, in 17th century also, books were written. But women's rights basically recognized in 19th century in British, I'm saying this. So basically 19th century is more encouraging than other centuries uh, in British. So as we, and because and it is because of the writings of the women writers. This is also the way when you write about the rights of women in through literature, through platform of the literature. So many problems are being highlighted. So 19th century is the more important regarding rights of women as compared to other century. So as we know that after 19th century, you see that there is a 20th century, you see that there are many women writers. And in 21st century, there are many women writers. So women have got more rights in 20th century and 21st century, as we know that. The more women have got education, the more she comes to know about her rights, about her value. So this is fact. Yes. Yes. If you, anyone has any question, please. Yes.
Sir, it is the last
Surya
slide.
Kant has gone away. Yes, you. I have. Yes, Sajda, have you understood the? Yes,
सर
Sajda,
एक ओवरव्यू दे दें दोबारा.
overview.
Yes,
जिस मैं
sir.
दे देता हूँ. Yes, Faisal. Faisal,
Yes, sir.
have you understood?
Yes,
You
sir.
were asking
I am
something in
here.
the beginning. Yes, Faisal.
No, sir. I was not asking anything.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to give you overview, and this subject is very interesting subject, and this subject is very important because from thesis and research point of view, when you uh, want to write a thesis in MPhil and PhD, this subject will help you a lot because as I have told you earlier, uh, in literature there is a non-empirical research. So there is non-empirical research. In non-empirical research, what is happening? There is a textual analysis, and you need theory for that. So it is very important to know the terms, and it is also very important to know these theories, because when you come to know about these theories, it will be very easy for you to write a thesis, otherwise not. So this is a difference between literary theory and literary criticism. We There are many literary theories, and we must know the theorist and components of that theory, because why we apply the theory to any text, because we would like to know about it, we would like to study it in depth, we would like to evaluate it, we would like to interpret it. When we try to study, evaluate, interpret any work of an art, you basically, this is a literary criticism. So literary criticism basically estimation of the value of art on the basis of personal and cultural significance. नाउ सपोज हम लोग जो है कोई भी टेक्स्ट लेते हैं, हम लोग बोलते हैं कि इसमें ये एलिमेंट्स अंदर हैं इसके, सपोज ये एलिमेंट्स हैं, ये थीम्स हैं इसके अंदर जो है। बेसिकली हम बोलते हैं कि इसके अंदर जो है साइको एनालिसिस है, इसके अंदर फेमिनिज्म है, इसके अंदर ये चीज़ है, इसके अंदर ये चीज़ है। Why we are doing that and why we say that? Because we would like to understand that. हम लोग उसके थीम को समझना चाहते हैं, हम लोग अंडरस्टैंड करना चाहते हैं कि भाई जो है इसके अंदर ये चीज़ें जो है वो मौजूद हैं। सो देयर इज़ अ लिटरेरी थियरी एंड लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म। मैंने आपको असाइनमेंट भी दी थी और जस्ट आपको जो है पता चल गया होगा। प्लीज़ go through these things in detail, and I will provide you the text and I will provide you the books as well. ऐसा मत करें कि एग्जाम में जो है मैं जब सवाल देता हूं तो मेरा लेक्चर ही उठा के जो है आप लिख देते हैं, तो दैट विल बी फेटल फॉर यू। मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा दुख होता है कि वो उस जो सवाल में मैंने आपको दिया है, जस्ट क्वेश्चन, द क्वेश्चन आई हैव गिवन टू यू, और फिर आप उसके आंसर के अंदर जो है वही मेरा लेक्चर के जो है वो पॉइंट्स लिख के ले आते हैं, चलो सर ने ये समझाया था। बेसिकली I am writing points and I have written points in order to make you understand, in order to discuss with you. So this is not the whole matter. ये पूरा matter नहीं है, and you need to study it in detail. और फिर ये है कि अगर मैं आपको कोई क्वेश्चन देता हूँ और यू गूगल इट एंड जो गूगल पे लिखा हुआ है वो आप लिख लेते हैं, and I will face lot of embarrassment to check your answers. मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा एम्बेरसमेंट होती है जब मैं आपके आंसर्स देखता हूँ, बिकॉज इट इज़ नॉट योर राइटिंग। तो वो गूगल पे चीज़ें जो है वो मौजूद होती हैं, तो वो बेसिकली आप उनको रिप्रोड्यूस करते हैं। तो डोंट पुट इन दैट एम्बेरसमेंट। मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा एम्बेरसमेंट होती है जो है वो आई एम ट्राइंग टू से दिस, जो है मुझे इस एम्बेरसमेंट से बचा लें, क्योंकि यू नीड टू स्टडी, यू नीड टू वर्क हार्ड and you need to discuss with one another. ये चीजें आप एक दूसरे के साथ डिस्कस करें, समझ में नहीं आती तो आपको पता होना चाहिए। ये एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट है, when you will go to get admission in MPhil, you will be asked about these things, पहली चीज ये। and when you go to appear any interview, you will be asked about these things कि भाई aestheticism क्या है, empiricism क्या है, feminism क्या है, literary theory, literary criticism के दरमियान जो है वो difference क्या है। okay, yes. This is the first slide, and this is the second one. I have given the example of, this is the example T.S. Eliot analysis of metaphysical poets. And this is you see that terms, because first of all you must know what is aestheticism, what is feminism, and what is psychoanalysis, because you must know these terms, and then you see that when you read about them in detail, you see that it become theories. So this is just aestheticism, and we are going to study in the next class. You see that Ketik as an artist. So basically aestheticism is appreciation of beauty in art, and then it is not connected with any kind of moral lesson. Just the term is art for art's sake. So Oscar Wilde's writing, John Keats' writing, and Shelley's writings, you see that mostly they are concerned with the art for art's sake, because there is no moral lesson as such. And there is another term, that art for morality's sake. I have given you the example, the writings of John Ruskin, Matthew Arnold, and other writers. Basically they promote moral lesson. Or you can say that the writings of the poems of Wordsworth also, because Wordsworth promotes the philosophy, that is you use pantheism or pantheism philosophy. Pantheism, the sense that God is present in every object of nature. Now he has got his theory of morality. So there is no, you see that promotion of morality in Keats' case, because Keats basically, he wants to enjoy nature, enjoy art, so by using his sensuousness. So he tries to promote the philosophy that we must have senses to appreciate beauty, to appreciate art. So this is aestheticism, and then we come to impressism. That is, you see that the mind is a blank slate at the time of birth, and man learns with the help of knowledge. Man learns with the help of experience and the sense perception. So there was no knowledge before birth, as Plato thinks that priori knowledge means knowledge before birth was, you see that, given to human being, and you see that there was knowledge, and but basically impressism or impressist philosophers, they think that they believe in practical kind of philosophy, that is pragmatism. So they think that man learns from ideas, and ideas are unit of knowledge, and which comes through experience, and experiences basically are sensory experiences. Okay, and then this is psychoanalysis. Now psychoanalysis is concerned with, related with the writings of the theory of Sigmund Freud, and we apply this because he has written interpretation of dreams. We apply, there are different components in it, and we apply this theory to interpret literature. And I have told you the writings of D.H. Lawrence. Basically, we come to know the from psychological point of view the writers and sorry, the characters and the minds of the character. You see that, and then I have given you the name of the story, Arabi of James Joyce also. So when you study literature from text, any text or literature from psychological point of view, so you have you will apply psychoanalysis, and then there is feminism and feminist criticism. Suppose you are going to interpret the poems of Maya Angelou, so then you see that you must know this theory, because Maya Angelou basically, and you will read her poem Women Work. You can find on Google. You can Google it, Women Work. And when you go through this poem, you come to know that she's highlighting the rights of women. She's highlighting uh, the uh, the issue of women, and so it means that we can apply this theory on any poem, any short story, or any novel we come to know. So